If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? And welcome to another edition of the Ron and Don Show. And we are back live in the Ron and Don Real Estate Studio.
What is up, Ron and Don Nation?
Hey, coming up on the Ron and Don Show, in fact, can we stop it before we get to the top?
Stop the show.
Top 5 at 5. Ron always brings in a graph when you're going to explain something for the real estate show that's coming up after this show. Are we trying to figure out if we're hot or not?
Yes, we are.
Because I feel like we're a little old for hot or not. We used to do this when we did rock and roll radio back in Dallas. But if you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, you can see Ron has brought a graph in that says whether we're... Oh, this is real. Okay, I got it.
There used to be a website back in the day called Am I Hot or Not?
Right.
And you could upload your picture and let the internet vote on whether you were hot.
Yeah.
I recommend against it.
Well, I'll tell you what's not hot is a tree falling on your tiny house.
It's not hot at all.
Up in the Skycomish. Just so people know, when we went through Hurricane Katrina back August 29, 2005, Ron didn't have one, but he had 2 homes, right? He was already doing the snowball. And then Hurricane Katrina stopped by and really snowballed it with a water ball. So not only did you lose 1 house, but you lost 2, and you lost a lot of your personal stuff. You can always replace the house, but you can't replace the leather jacket, your guitar collection. A lot of our radio shows disappeared, a lot of our radio gear. So I wish we still had all that stuff back. But then after that, we come to Seattle. You currently have a condo that's flooded 1, 2, 3. I've been over, I think, for 3 floods. And then on top of that, we have someone that just went on your rental down in the Burien area. So you've been working on that. And as you're working on the Burien rental that I think you're getting ready to sell, a tree falls down on the tiny? What's going on?
Yeah, so I have a tiny house on the Skycomish River. And I, just as a little bit of background, like back in the day, I guess for, I don't know, however, X number of years, a long time, I have dreamed about, it's like, what I love is to be out in nature, to like have a place to go. Like I've just daydreamed about that for years. And back when I lived in Auburn, I was like, I'm just going to build one of these. And so I bought a trailer and I got the plans and I was going to try to build it myself. And that never materialized because I got a divorce.
But when you lived in Maple Valley, you'd kind of created a space like that where you had a fire ring and all that stuff
so
as well.
I've been daydreaming about this for many, many years. So I had some things happen after I got divorced where I was like, I found this piece of land with our pal Wes Jones, actually, before he got into real estate. Wes was my agent for this piece of land. So we drove all around out there and we're looking at different properties on the river.
So this is Wes's fault.
This is Wes's fault.
Okay.
So we found this land, a piece of raw land right on the river. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of money to take this gamble on whether or not I will enjoy this. But I think I will. So I spent a lot of money to see if I would enjoy it. And I did enjoy it. So I bought a tiny house, completely renovated it, put in a new kitchen, new cabinets, new everything, and prepared the land, had it graded and his power installed and a water system and everything had to be, it was like from scratch, a cabin in the woods. And so backed it in there and absolutely just have loved this place. So I moved in, had the tiny house moved in March of 2020, I believe. After and it took a long time to get to the move-in day because all of the stuff I just said.
Your brother was there on the move-in day, wasn't he?
I don't think he was there on day one, but he's visited me a number of times.
You never want to be there on day one. It's too much work. Yeah.
And so just one project after the next.
Good job, Rob.
Building the deck and getting everything built and installing the shit, like just one. It's been 5-6 years of one project.
It's fun having those projects, though, right? It's fun to look back and go, "Hey, we built that deck," or it's fun to look back and say, "Hey, we."
It's fun when it's over. So the past year or so, is finally been. It's relatively dialed in.
Yeah.
Like then now you're just doing stuff of like, hey, maybe I could put a plant over there. Like we're at the level where Everything was dialed in.
And then it was a flood first?
So in December,
or the fire?
there was a fire.
Yeah.
But the fire never got to our property, but it was a couple miles away.
I don't know. You had cameras out there, and it sure, when the smoke was rolling through there, it sure
Holy
looked like
cow.
the fire was on your project, on your property.
Well, it was across the river, maybe 5 miles away.
Yeah.
But it was
it's scary.
The fire contributed to the flood because once the fire happened, the trees couldn't absorb the same amount of water, and the soil couldn't absorb the same amount of water that it does when there's not a fire. No. So then we had this flood last December, where normally the water, I have on this little thing on my computer desk of what the water level is. They have a U.S. Forest Department or something gauge that tells you what the water is. It averages between 5.5 feet to 8 feet. Sometimes it goes up to 10 feet if there's a heavy rainstorm. So right between five it's usually 5 to 7 feet. And in that storm, it got up to 21 feet high.
Wow. And you're below a dam, right?
Below sort of a spillway.
Yeah.
And so the flood happened. And the flood, the tiny house wasn't damaged. I lost a set of stairs that go down to the river, and I lost my Starlink internet. So in the grand scheme of things, not a huge
But
deal.
when you took a picture there, I do remember seeing your neighbor's car floating around behind you. So it certainly
Other people downriver got hit really hard because their place is lower than my place.
Yeah.
And so I remember last week some people in Kirkland going, well, it was kind of windy. Like we had some winds in Seattle,
right?
But like it was just it was windy.
Because the east side knows what's up when a bomb cyclone comes, and they still have a lot of old growth timber over there in neighborhoods in Bellevue and in Kirkland and Redmond, and so people really freak out, as they should, because you never know when one of those big trees is going to roll down.
I didn't put two and two together. I was like, it was windy. Like that happens in the winter. Like it's windy. And then I get a text from my one of my neighbors up there by the river, and he said, hey, you probably have heard by now, but like a tree fell at your place. And I was like, no, I haven't heard. Can you send me a photo? And he's like, well, I'm doing some stuff, but yeah, I'll go over there. And he's like, there's power lines down, and quite a few trees had fallen in the mountains. And so and this is by Index, by the way, so on Highway 2. So he drives over, sends me the picture, and a tree had fallen, and it was stuck in between the tiny house and the pump house. And so I was like, oh, crap. And there was clearly a window broken. So
the tree broke into your house.
The tree
what did it take?
Broke the house.
Yeah.
So I gathered together a bunch of stuff. Like this, the timing could not have been worse. As always when stuff like this happens. Like you said, I got a bunch of plates spinning in other areas of my life right now. So I got my chainsaw, put a new chain on there. I went and got some bar oil. I got all my supplies.
Safety glasses.
I bought some Flex Seal.
You ready
the
to
guy
go?
with the Flex Seal thing. Because I was like,
I love it.
This is waterproofing.
You didn't call me, which I really appreciated.
I didn't call you because, why would I?
Good way to wreck a friendship.
So
come help me.
I head up there and quickly determined that what I believe happened. So this tree, and I think our friend Scotty was like, which tree was it? And I was like, Scotty, I'm in the woods. It doesn't matter what tree it was. You're surrounded by trees.
He'll know. Yeah.
And it's like, it could have been any tree.
He's a lover of trees. He was probably up there and named all the trees.
He's probably rooting for the tree right now.
Probably was rooting for the tree.
So the tree fell, and luckily for me, it snapped off at about 25 feet high. And the same thing across the street. So there must have been like a micro accelerated wind band.
That's so unusual.
Like you get at in hurricanes.
And it wasn't a rotted tree. It was a.
It didn't seem like it because the wood is in good shape that I had to cut off. So it fell. It's maybe 15 feet or so off of the deck. This tree. So it snapped at 20 feet high, hit the top of the tiny house, just right down the middle. And then I think that it snapped and rolled off the tiny house, hit this other structure, and then landed where the top of it was on this pump house, which, by the way, the pump house is still standing.
Cool, man.
And I built that pump house. So I was like, hey, pretty good construction out of this guy over here. It did not pancake.
Nice job.
And it's right on top of the power, there's power distribution, water distribution on this same structure. And it was sticking out. The tree stuck out 60, 70 feet past the, so there was a lot of weight on that.
Yeah.
So my pal Michael came with me up there, and we're like, well, let's try to trim the tree right here to just take some weight off of the little shed that holds the power.
He's the guy to call because he can really work power tools, right?
Yeah, and so we chainsawed that and skill sawed it and got that to the ground, and then went inside, and it looks like a earthquake happened. The tree had moved. So I had built the deck right up to the front door, so it was parallel. Like maybe it
was it worth in your July 4th party?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
So the tree, when it hit it, like moved the entire structure over maybe 6-8 inches. Like I don't know how much force that is. That's a lot of force to slide a structure over 6 inches.
Yeah.
I go inside, and in a tiny house, you have to use the vertical space because you don't have a lot of cabinetry. So all the like hot sauce and canned goods and everything were up high, and like a couple bottles of whiskey and like all that stuff were on shelves that were at eye level or above. And all the dishes and everything are up there because I don't have a lot of cabinet space below. Everything came off like it was an earthquake and just shattered all over the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
So and then where the walls came together and the tree hit on the roof just like separated, and the wall dropped and like buckled all the flooring. So that came down maybe 3 or 4 inches. The fascia board on the outside just splintered where the window broke. So I think it hit right above that window, separated the wall, window shattered. I got a piece of plywood over the window, and I'm just.
Is there water? Is there water coming in from upstairs?
I didn't see that like a water leak. It doesn't mean that there's not one.
So when the wall fell, it didn't separate from the joist of the roof?
I haven't. It could have.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I didn't see an active water like dripping inside.
Yeah.
So I'm dealing with my insurance agent now, and they're like, "Can you take some more pictures?" It's like I can, but I have to drive, an hour and a half to get there. So I need to schedule some time to go up there and take some more pictures, and I guess we'll just rebuild it.
Yeah. What? I knew you moved Michael here for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chainsaw operation.
He has a good friend. We have a good friend named Michael. He used to listen to our show down in Oakland. He used to call in. We did sports radio. His nickname was Nutsack from Oaktown because he didn't want anyone from his work to actually hear that Michael from Oakland was on the phone because he thought he'd get in trouble. So it's good that Nutsack's here because he can. And I am sorry that happened. Does it feel personal to you after a while? Because this has happened to you more than anyone I know, right? More than anyone I know.
I don't know what it is. Like I try not to take it personal because like it's a windstorm. Like it could have. Why not me? Like it could have fallen on anyone's house, and it happened to fall on mine.
Yeah, Katrina was a little windstorm too, so that's a good way to look. Let's get to the top 5 at 5.
Ron and Don's top 5 at 5.
5, 3, 2, 1.
All right, let's talk about tonight's top 5 at 5 and Dateline. Let's get to Seattle, Washington, and it seems like cities are now pushing back and saying, "Hey, we don't want your detention centers here." What say you? Seattle seems to be one of those cities saying when it comes to ICE, we don't want their detention centers.
I think it aligns with the politics of the state. I think here's the weird thing about immigration, and we've talked about it before. There's no one in the country. I think you could poll all 300 million plus people in America and go, are you in favor of letting in rapists, murderers, and criminals from other countries unabated to the United States? And you would get 0 people to go, yeah, I'm pro murderers and rapists into the United States. So like everyone agrees, including the most liberal states in America, which I think Washington would be among those, that we're not in favor of just rampant criminality flooding into the United States. However, I think if you land a little bit left on the spectrum, you are in favor of human rights. You are in favor of due process. You are in favor of political asylum. You are in favor of reforming the immigration system. You are aware that the history of the United States is founded on people coming here from other countries. And so if you're progressive in that way, you go, yeah, we want to weed out the murderers. At the same time, I don't want to see someone in Minnesota in a pair of boxer shorts and a short sleeve shirt being dragged out in negative 35 degrees and forced to stand outside for an hour. So the cruel. I'm not in favor of using a 5-year-old kid in daycare to lure their family to come pick them up so they can be arrested and deported. And so I think the outgrowth of that for Washington State is saying, hey, it's infrastructure projects are great. There are a lot of money coming in, and you employ people locally and all of those things. But we're not into the cruelty of this administration, and so we're going to pass.
Yeah, and I don't think we should pass. So, and everything you said, I agree with. But I also look at some of these detention centers. You and I have lived in all the border states. It is so freaking hot down there. And if someone has to suffer in a detention center, and sometimes people are going to suffer a jail or a detention center, and there are people out there that do need to be detained legally, and they do need to be sent back to their countries you just talked about. But if it's here, these detention centers are going to get built anywhere and anyway. And I think what's hard is it is hard to partner with this version of Homeland Security. It is hard to partner with this version of DHS. It's hard to partner for local police to partner with some of these ICE agents that have 6 weeks of training and then they're out shooting and killing people. And we've seen that with our own eyes. And that hasn't been corrected, right? That hasn't been corrected. I wish there could be some kind of partnership, though, in building these detention centers, because the money's been passed. They're going to get built. And say, let's build places where kids can play. Let's build places where moms can nurse. Let's build places where people, if they need medical care, can get medical care. Let's build places where for people that have the legal right to stand before a judge, they have that opportunity. And I think we can do a real good job and a better job at that here in Washington State than some swamp down in Florida.
Ron and Don's Top 5 at 5.
Number 2.
All right, speaking of the war, I think I finally figured out what Donald Trump is doing. I went back and I looked at numerous engagements that other presidents have engaged in, whether it be Bill Clinton, whether it be both Bushes, even Barack Obama. And what you always saw, you always see it. You always see Americans rally around the flag. They rally around the flag. And we talked about George Bush. His numbers were really shiznit. And then 9/11 happens, and 90% of Americans, Republican, Democrat, we rallied around that flag. And I think Donald Trump is looking at this and saying to himself, the only shot I have at the midterms, because right now he knows the economy's cooked. No matter how much he lies about it, he knows the economy's cooked. I think a Fed rate's going to come out today, and if we didn't have this war going on in Iran, which is sparking inflation now, we'll see stagflation, then he probably would have received what he wanted, which were for rates to continue to go down. But instead, those rates are going to stay, and we're actually seeing some rates starting to trickle up, right? I think what he's doing is sitting there and going, at some point, Americans who are voters, as we head toward the midterms, they're going to rally around the flag, and nobody is rallying around him. Nobody is rallying around the flag, and the world has walked away. And what they're doing is they're getting on the phone and they're saying, hey, this is France. What's going on, Iran?
Bonjour.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, we got a couple tankers. And we're just wondering if we paid you this much, could we get those tankers flowing? I think what you're going to see the world doing, instead of coming and rallying around the United States of America, in some ways they're rallying around themselves, and they're cutting deals on the phone with Iran, because we're starting to see now ships go through. But if somehow they're attached to Israel, somehow they're attached to the United States, those things are going to get bombed. And we know that the United States Navy does not have the ability to stop what's happening right now with these drones. So here come the boots on the ground. And at the same time, the Gerald Ford, a $14 billion aircraft carrier, caught on fire, wiped out 100 bunks. They had a horrible, horrible fire. That thing, they got to go park and they got to go fix. So now here comes the George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier, along with another carrier that's going to bring some Marines, I think 22 or 2,500 Marines. And the fear here is he at some point going to decide we're going to have to put boots on the ground. And if you're going to put boots on the ground, you're going to need hundreds of thousands of men and women here in order to do that. I'm just wondering, do they take Karg Island, and in taking that island where 90% of Iran's oil comes from, and they continue to use that, they're pumping oil, they continue to use that island. They had some military installations there. We blew those up, but we didn't blow up the oil. And I wondered if the United States says, you know what, we're going to take our 2,200 Marines. We're going to go take that island. They're bringing in helicopters. We'll fly helicopters. We'll do whatever we have. And then we'll get on the phone and tell Iran, hey, you open up the strait for the United States and for Israel. You give us access to make sure you're saying that all the nuclear materials are buried somewhere and you can't get to them. We want to have access to those. And if not, we're going to blow up this freaking island. I think that's what's happening. What do you think?
There's a lot to unpack in there. I think the first thing, I think that it's human nature to enjoy watching a bully get comeuppance. Like if you go online right now and you find, Karen gets retribution video, or like there's videos of a bully that's bullying someone and then they slip and fall or whatever. People love to see a bully get theirs. And I think the rest of the world is going, okay, you've bullied us economically, Donald Trump. You've crapped all over NATO. You crapped all over all your allies for months and months and years. Do it yourself. You've said literally, we don't need you.
And he's crapped all over the military.
He's crapped all over the military.
Think about what he said about John McCain, right?
Yeah.
Not being a hero.
Like he literally has said, we don't need anybody. We got this. Yeah. And then he's like, hey, why isn't our NATO partners helping us? They're like, dude, you just said you didn't need us. See ya. So I think that the relations we have with the rest of the world have never been worse right now. And the other thing that's interesting to me is when you look at like Great Britain, which has been for 80 years, has been our closest ally. They basically said, no, United States, you cannot use our bases. This is an illegal war. You got zero permission from Congress. There's never been a treaty. There's not a treaty that exists. There's not a resolution of war that exists. You didn't take this to the American people. So now that you need us and you need access to our base to bring in your big bombers, no. Like, we disagree with you. And then people are pushing back. Countries are pushing back and saying, hey, you can't just bully everybody continually forever and not expect to get pushback. So it's just an unfortunate thing. People do rally around the flag. However, 1 in 4 Americans can find Iran on a map.
Is that right?
1 in 4 Americans, you give them a world map and they know where it even is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Americans are going to rally around this excursion because nobody even knows where it is.
Yeah. You know you're in trouble when the two Joes walk away. Joe Rogan is now lighting up the president daily, and a lot of people feel like because of Barron Trump.
Is the other Joe DiMaggio?
No, could be. No longer with us, but makes me want to get out my Mr. Coffee and have a cup. How about you?
Yeah, I have a Mr. Coffee.
So Joe Rogan is lighting him up on a daily basis, talking about being lied to. A lot of the bros, the 30 bros down in Austin, Joe Rogan down there built this nightclub because he felt like live comedy was dying. So he built a live nightclub down there, and 30 of his buddies are down there now living in Austin. They all work in and out of that nightclub, and then they all have podcasts, and they jump on each other's podcasts. So what happened with Rogan, when he turned toward Trump and said, hey, I'm voting for this guy, I'm voting for him, all the bros, all 30 bros did that, and they reached, like Theo Vaughn, man, he reaches millions and millions of people, right?
Well, the vice president's been on his podcast.
Yeah, and the president has as well. So anyway, we've seen that. We've seen that drastically change, and then Joe Kent, who was a politician here in Washington State, he's on the right, so he didn't get voted in. The president said, "Hey, you've been in 11 combat tours. 11 combat tours. That's the guy I'm looking for to be my director of counterintelligence."
Yeah, this is incredible.
So he hires Joe. And not only did Joe Kent go on 11 combat tours, and he's only 45 years old, his wife was also in the military, and she was blown up overseas, I think it was in Yemen, by a ISIS suicide bomber. So Joe Kent writes a letter to the president and saying, hey, I can't be a part of this. And here's a reason why I can't be a part of this, because this is not a legal war. Iran was not an imminent threat. This is the guy in charge of counterintelligence. So the president has come out today and just basically shiznits all over this guy.
Right.
And not only that, but a lot of people within the MAGA movement are doing the same thing. And I'm like, a guy has done 11 combat tours.
Has access to all the documents.
He's seen it all. He writes a very civil letter to the president saying why I can't do this. He's not out doing crazy interviews today like Marjorie Taylor Greene is and dive bombing on the president. He did it in a very respectful way. And then to think about his wife and the way that she perished and all this shiznit, all this shit that has been said online about him today by people who have never served. I've never served, so I don't know what that's like. And at the same time, I have great respect and reverence for that, and we all should have that.
Ron and Don's Top 5 Back 5.
Number 4.
All right, I think we're at number 3, actually. We're at number 3.
Ron and Don's Top 5 Back 5.
Number 3.
All right, let's lighten things up a little bit. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk number 9. We're going to talk K9, $45 million. He goes to Kansas City.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about number 9, K9. He's going to be the running back for Kansas City. And guess who the Seattle Seahawks open up against on a Wednesday night? For some reason, we're going to play Kansas City.
Okay.
I thought we'd be playing the Rams or the Niners, but the following night on Thursday Night Football, the Rams and the Niners are going to play. So on the Wednesday, we get Seattle and KC, and then the next night we get Rams and Niners. Your thoughts on opening night? I thought we would have faced someone in the West. I'm a little bummed about it.
First off, I am rooting for Kenneth Walker to have a great year,
But he won't. He'll get hurt.
He won't. He could get hurt.
In fact, this last year he didn't have a great year. He got hurt on and off. Zach Charbonnet carried the water the whole year, and then when you really needed hard yards, Zach always got those. The yards that Kenneth Walker couldn't get for 4 years. He was always hurt. And now he's a Kansas City Chief. Why would you be rooting for him?
Because like these players that they put their body on the line and they chew up.
No,
their
they don't. He
health.
puts his body on the bench. That's not on the line. It's on the bench.
You're anti Kenneth Walker now?
I am.
Okay, I'm still pro.
He's
Kenneth
part
Walker.
of the enemy. You can have sports hate. You're allowed to have sports hate.
Kansas City's not our
Are you rooting
enemy.
for Patrick Mahomes to come back and have a great night too?
I like
what the
Patrick
hell's the matter
Mahomes.
with
I
you?
like Patrick Mahomes.
I like him a lot.
And I like Travis Kelce's coming back. So it should be a fun game. I don't really understand the scheduling in the NFL. Like it's pretty wild the way that it all works.
Usually what they try to do is take the two folks that played in the Super Bowl and they see if they can get that rolling on a Thursday night, which they decided not to do that this year because I don't think people are hankering to see New England play Seattle again. Otherwise, they would have done that, but that's not what they're hankering to see.
Yeah, so I'm not rooting against. Like I rooted against Russell Wilson. I root against Aaron Rodgers. I'm not rooting against Kenneth Walker.
I thought you liked Aaron Rodgers again. I thought you guys made up.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh, I thought you guys made up.
Are you serious?
He's
bro?
married. He's married now.
I don't, dude. No. I will never be on Team Aaron
still don't like
Rodgers.
him.
Yeah, him and.
So you don't want to see him come back this year and play?
I don't care what he does.
Okay.
He's a cancer to any team that he's on.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, and Russell Wilson's now doing cameo videos for 1999.
You bring that up a lot.
Which is like,
we should
dude,
get you one.
You didn't get enough money from the Denver Broncos. You need to go do cameo
I'm going to
videos.
see if I can get you a cameo video from Russell Wilson.
That would be fantastic.
I wonder how much it costs.
Yeah.
For maybe your birthday coming.
There you go. That would be lovely. And so, yeah.
Don't tell me what you want for your birthday.
Sports-wise, of course I'm pulling for the Seahawks. I think that Kansas City is an intriguing storyline for next year.
Yeah. What do you think? A lot of people are saying the Seahawks could have been a dynasty, but they lost too many players. And they only
every Super Bowl team
and
gets poached.
they only lost a couple.
Now every Super Bowl team gets poached. The thing that this team has done, which I think many teams have ignored, the interior line seems pretty solid on both sides, offense and defense, and the style of play that they have and the defensive mindedness that they have. I don't know if they're a dynasty, but I don't think they've taken as big a draw. There were teams that won Super Bowls that got decimated in free agency. We still had a lot of guys locked up under contract.
Watch the Seattle Seahawks. And watch the line, and a lot of it started with their guard center combo because those guys played together when they were at South Dakota State. One of the Dakotas.
East Dakota State.
They sprint to the line. They sprint to the line. They make their line calls, which then allows the quarterback to make his line calls, point out the Mike linebacker, and they're always just a half step ahead. And we see it on the offensive side and the defensive side. As long as they can continue to do that, excuse me, don't forget, Seattle Seahawks this year, winning the Super Bowl, had a younger team than Indiana did when they won the national championship in college football.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
that is interesting. Finally, the Americans, they lose to Venezuela. What was your thoughts on that in the World Baseball Championship?
I was pulling for America.
I wasn't.
But it was.
I was pulling for Venezuela.
It was really interesting.
We just took their dictator.
I know.
I'm like, something has to go right for them. Why not the World Baseball Championship, right?
It was heartwarming to see the celebration. And Eugenio Suarez, former Mariner that's now a Red this year, had the double that brought in the winning run. And he was so emotional. Like seeing Miggy Cabrera, all those guys, that was really cool. I will say, what do you think about Julio Rodriguez on the Dominican Republic saying, they lost, of course, in the semis. He said winning the World Baseball Classic would be better than winning a World Series in Seattle. He said it in Spanish, but he did say that.
Get him out. Get him out.
Really?
Yeah, get him out.
Okay.
I think that guy's right. Dan, throw him on the bench. Finally, Sonics in 2 years.
Hold on.
Welcome to the game.
Are we allowed to play this?
I hope so.
Gentlemen, shout the name. Seattle Supersonics are basketball bionic. And Gary Payton was on.
Just got to hear a little collaboro.
Pass up court to Sean.
Got to get up on the magic carpet and ride. How they crumble.
Supersonics. Oh yeah. Supersonics.
Not just the regular team.
Nate McMillan with it. Deep three over to Shrimp. In the corner, Gary wide open. He's a little. Yes! Gary Payton hits the three. Ay, caramba!
That's awesome.
Nate McMillan.
Finally, the Sonics here in 2 years. It seems like a lot of people think that is going to happen, and I think the question becomes who's gonna pay. They're saying they want $10 million.
$10 billion.
I'm sorry, $10 billion. $10 million would be a deal.
$10 million would be a deal for a professional franchise.
$10 billion. I think you get $10 billion for the Seahawks. People are saying 7 to 8. I think you get 10 or 11 for the Seahawks. Boy,
As long
the
NBA
NBA has
Bezos. I do not want Bezos to own a team.
I don't want him either.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, I want the 3 female billionaires to own a team.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and Jody Allen's going to have a bunch of extra money here soon, so maybe she can spend it on a basketball team.
She just sold the basketball team.
Because she had to sell the basketball
Right.
team. Yeah. All right, let's get out.
Ron and Don's Top 5 Back 5.
Number 4.
All right, do you believe that Banksy has been identified? And we have talked about Banksy art over the years. And I love the fact that it's a mystery man that just shows. Is it anywhere around the world that he shows up and he creates Banksy
He's
art?
a famous street artist, and he has done all kinds of incredible sort of stunts over the years. But he's been anonymous his entire career. This goes back to the 90s, so almost like over 30 years, and he's revealed his identity. He actually did a documentary called Exit Through the Gift Shop that's really, really good, nominated for Academy Award, and when he was and he directed it, but in the picture, he was blacked out. You couldn't see his face. So now there's saying that they found a police record of him of an arrest made for a Banksy piece, and they've identified his true identity. I don't know if it matters at this point, 30-some years on. The remarkable thing that happened a while back, there was this famous painting he did called A Girl with a Balloon. And so he sort of does this stencilized spray paint art that has, political overtones on it. And so the Girl in the Balloon, it was in this nice gold frame. It went to Sotheby's or Christie's auction house, and it got $2.4 million for the auction of the art piece. After the gavel fell, and everyone was oohing and aahing over the price of this piece of artwork, Banksy, via remote control or a cell phone or somehow, engaged the frame, and inside the frame he had built a paper shredder And the painting that just sold for $2.4 million went down automatically through the paper shredder to about 70% of the thing was shredded. And so it was sticking out the bottom of the frame being shredded in strips of paper. The person he paid the $2.4 million, kept that piece of artwork, auctioned it off 2 to 3 years later, and it went for $25 million after it had been shredded.
Wow.
And so he does things that are just remarkable. The other thing I love that he did is he made a bunch of original pieces of Banksy artwork, and he went down to the River Thames one time, and they had just a tent, like a little, and inside the tent, he put his art pieces along with other sort of children's art. And when kids came by walking, like 5 years old and younger, he said, go in there, or someone, I don't know if it was him, someone on his team was like, go in and take the art that you like, the one that speaks to you the most. And it was either a worthless piece of children's art or a Banksy that was worth millions of dollars. And so the kids got to go in, not each one of them was worth, you get my point. So the kids would go in, and if they liked the Banksy, they would come out, and the parents would be like, holy crap, you just picked out a Banksy. Yeah. And so then they could, if they wanted to keep it or sell it. So he does really interesting work. It doesn't matter to me if we know who it is.
Is it the mystique in the not knowing that made him more famous?
Oh, absolutely.
And would it wreck it to find out that he's a multi-millionaire living in a castle somewhere, or because he really a lot of his art is about the common the common man.
Not to me, it doesn't. Yeah. But watch Exit Through the Gift Shop. It's a really good documentary.
All right.
Ron and Don's Top 5 Back 5.
Number 5.
All right, the Academy Awards. By the time you hear this, they're about a week old. What did you think of Sean Penn, who was supposed to get a trophy, and he's like, I'll be in Ukraine. And everyone said, he's not in Ukraine. He's probably home. He's probably high. He's drunk. And then, damn it, there he is with Zelensky in Ukraine when they're trying to hand him that trophy. What a message to the world. What a powerful message to the world. And no matter what you think about his politics, if you have a moment, Bill Maher does a podcast where he sits down in his basement. I think he used to have a stripper pole. He used to do different things in his basement. Now he does a podcast that millions of people listen to. He has a little bar there. He gets high. He says, I get high one time a week. It's when I do this podcast. He does it on Wednesday, which alters his state. And I think he's a better interviewer when he's high than he is when he's doing his Politically Incorrect or the Bill Maher Show or whatever that is that he still does. I think we're 26 years on HBO. But they sat down and they had a conversation, and they come from really two different places. But when you find out how Sean Penn is wired and what he really cares about, he really showed you the other night, because you think about the millions of dollars that have been spent by agencies to place everyone in that room, right? To have re-releases of their movies, to create commercials, to get them on podcasts like a Bill Maher podcast. And Sean Penn is like a Banksy in a sense, where he didn't give an F. And I thought it was quite, especially in the times that we're in right now, it was quite a statement for him to go, not only am I not here tonight to get that trophy, but I'm somewhere overseas that's a very dangerous place, and I wish the United States was more engaged here right now than they were in the Gulf. And what he's done in Haiti over the years is mind-blowing to me. And then think about the movie. Have you watched the movie yet?
Not yet. I want to, though. One problem after another, or
the movie totally,
one battle after another.
The movie totally relates to what is happening in America today, as he plays a military expert. And my son and I are only halfway through it. And it's one of those movies that the plot continues. They don't foreshadow it at all. The plot continues to unfold, and I think we're about 2/3 of the way through the movie, and I'm still not sure what it's about.
Paul Thomas Anderson is a genius. I do. There's
which they don't make movies about that anymore. When I heard, who are the three guys on the podcast that do Smartless? They said when you sit down, Jason Bateman, when he directs movies, he says the movie houses will come back to you and say, hey, because people are on their phones all the time, even during the movie, you in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, you have to explain the plot. And then for the rest of the movie, you have to reset and tell the plot over and over again. This movie does not do that. So if you got your phone in your hand and you're not paying attention, And as I said, 2/3 of the way through, I still don't know what's going on, but it feels like a great.
I think there are certain people that don't get corrupted by the business of show business, and Sean Penn is one of those. And I like the argument is basically like, why are we competing over art? Same thing with the Grammys. If you like what you like, if you like Radiohead, that's who you like. It doesn't mean that they're better than you two. It means they're different. You like Coldplay better than you like Radiohead, or vice versa. And so in the same thing,
I don't.
I'm saying it means an example.
I love Coldplay more than I like Radiohead.
So I like Radiohead better. So so for Sean Penn to do this is just saying, hey, I'm not in competition with these other actors. Like I don't care. Like I tried to make good art. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's great too. Maybe it's not for you. I love that. That's sort of the a standard, but you get swept up in it. And not to compare ourselves to the Oscars, but back in the day when we were on the radio and they'd have award season, part of me was pissed off when I would see the winners, and I would go, "Oh, our segment was better than that segment." When the Edward R. Murrow Awards came out, or the local award season happened, and so it is hard as a human being. You want to win, and you want to get.
We won
accolades.
some of those. Do you actually have the trophy anywhere?
I don't think I have the trophy anymore. I think you had the trophy, and so, but.
I don't put my trophies out.
It's better, I think, if you're like Sean Penn and go, it doesn't matter to me. We did our best work. It speaks for itself. And if it connects with you, great. And if it's not for you, that's also great. But there's part of me that's like, I wanted to win the trophy.
Yeah. All right. If you guys need us for real estate, ronanddonsitdown.com. More in a minute.
If you have a friend that is ready to start their real estate journey, send them to ronanddonsitdown.com.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Again, don't forget, if you're buying, selling, investing, then make sure you look us up, ronanddonsitdown.com. We can sit down with you virtually today. And as Kim said from our old Windermere office, I saw her on King 5 the other day, she said the market is really great for buyers and sellers right now, right? You really have to make sure, if you're a seller, and I agree with her, that you really have to tune up a house, which she's great at. And you have to make sure you do all the stuff. People are trying to cut corners and not do a Matterport, not do proper pictures, not do a proper video. Take pictures with their cell phone, which you could do during the pandemic, right? You have to make sure that you really spend some time with the property, invest some money, spend $1, get $2 back. Don't spend $1 and get 50 cents back. And as you're bringing that home to market, make sure you bring it to market with excellence. You can't be sloppy about it if you want top dollar. And the buyers right now are out there. The buyers are willing to kind of pass on a deal where, Ron, back in 2022 in the height of the pandemic, there were a lot of buyers out there that just felt forced because there weren't a lot of things for sale. I think year over year right now, we have 27% more homes on market than we did last year. So you're going to be talking about hot or not real estate coming up on the show right after this. That's our real estate only show. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I had a situation, believe it or not, someone on social media came back at me. I made a post where I was like, hey, the market is heating up. And he's like, you always say that. Like, what do you mean? He wasn't being a jerk about it.
Was it my friend Mike Martin?
It might have been.
Okay.
But
it's usually Mike Martin.
It was, I thought, that's a fair question.
I sat next to him at the Seahawks games, and we had a very lively discussion.
It's like, what do I mean when I say it's heating up? So we're going to talk about hot or not coming up in our real estate only segment.
All right. Hey, let's do this. New Scientist magazine has given us the 5 worst ideas of the 21st century and how they went wrong. And number 1, they say, is Bitcoin. They say these are some of the worst fumbles of the century. Your thought on Bitcoin, because if it was hot or not, it was hot when it all began, right? And sometimes it's hot for certain people that have a certain type of Bitcoin, I guess.
I think that it's following the trajectory of a new revolutionary technology. Like, there's early adoption, those people get super into it, and then sort of a bubble expands where the rest of people are trying to figure out what it is. Then that bubble usually pops, and you go into, like, is there actual utility here? So the blockchain idea which is decentralized transactions, I think that idea has legs. I think in the future it's going to continue to be adopted in things like the insurance industry, even stuff like real estate. I don't know if you're going to go in and buy a water at the convenience store and have it on the blockchain. But I do think that the blockchain idea is good, specifically for other countries. So not necessarily in the United States. Countries, let's say, where you have a dictator that can make inflation go up 1,000% overnight. Like having a decentralized currency in those environments is actually good. But what to the credit of this article, what has happened is it's turned into just a speculation device. Like you can't go get a pizza and buy it with Bitcoin. People are now just buying and selling crypto as investment vehicles and as unregulated. You can do pump and dump schemes there where you can't do that in the stock market because of the rules. So yeah, it's been disappointing, I think, right now. I have a good friend that at one point had $500,000 in crypto, and then bam, overnight some stuff got stolen digitally, and then it went in. So it can swing 50% in hundreds of thousands of dollars in a matter of days.
People bet on everything now. I don't know if you saw the story. I think he's an Israeli journalist. And he had reported on a missile falling in a certain part of Israel, and the first missile to fall. And so he was contacted anonymously, and people just said, "Hey, we're gonna come take you out if you don't detract that story." And come to find out, he was an investigative reporter. They had bet on the first missile falling somewhere else, and were about to win a bunch of money. So they called him and they wanted him to detract that. So I'm amazed that people. We know they bet on the Super Bowl, these prop bets. I didn't know that there were prop bets when it comes to war.
The prediction markets.
It was really interesting. A New Scientist, they said this. They said if you look at recent history, maybe you're better off investing in Pokemon cards than Bitcoin. My son came home a couple weeks ago, and he was in there looking at his Pokemon cards again. I'm like, what is going on here? And then he was searching for some of his old Legos. I guess there's certain types of Legos now in Pokemon cards because a lot of influencers now, and especially the Paul brothers, they're really promoting Pokemon cards right now. In fact, one of them is a fighter, and as the last fight, he lifted up his prized Pokemon card, which is worth supposedly millions of dollars. So my son is in there now.
Do you have any good ones?
I haven't seen him in there since he was 6 years old, and here he is 15, about to be 16. And he's interested in
I hope
Pokemon
he has
cards.
some rare ones. That'd be great.
What say you about social media? I love social media. Social media is great for our business. Social media is great to connect. People pick on the phone a lot, this computer, but we're able to do our jobs because of social media. We're able to sit here and put things out on the internet that we don't need a radio tower for, which frees me up to do some things that, in fact, I just went and did some fingerprinting for Seattle Public Schools, so hopefully I can do some coaching for them.
Glad it wasn't fingerprinting to get out of prison.
Yeah, but the phone gives us a way to do our business, and by pulling the phone out of the pocket is very powerful. And at the same time, depending on how you use your phone, if you're on social media 7, 8, 9 hours a day and it becomes a mirror into your soul and you're not out there connecting with people. Scott Galloway, my son and I are reading a book of his right now, and he's like, hey, at least when young men went out and they got drunk, they got laid and they had babies and they had kids and they started families. Sometimes by mistake, right? Maybe that happened to me. Who knows? So, but young men aren't doing that anymore. They're staying at home. They don't drink, and they're looking at that phone. Even for my son and his friends, they'll all play together on a Saturday night, but they're all in their rooms and they're all in their devices. So it's very different.
I think the thing for social media that we need to realize is that they've done a great job at convincing us that this is the only way that the algorithms could be written. This is the only way that social media could perform. And that's not true. These companies could, instead of optimizing for engagement and optimizing for profit margin with the ads that they serve up, they could optimize for something different, like Facebook or Instagram or X or whatever. They could optimize for social interaction. They could optimize for people connecting with nature. They could optimize the algorithm for anything. And so it's a lie if you believe, well, it's just the way it is. Like that's the way it's going to be. And even when you think about like AI recently, where the Trump administration was like, you have to give us an unbridled AI that we could use for military applications. And one company, I think it was Anthropic, said, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we're not going to just give you our technology and let you do whatever the hell you want with it. We have some ethics here. And so I think the failure of social media is that us as a society have given away our attention for free, basically, and not said, why don't you optimize for something else? Why don't you opt and even engage in, if there was a social media platform that engaged in helping your neighbor or engaged in something different, instead they have hijacked our brains to say, hey, if I throw up a video revealing the worst or fighting or whatever, it's tapping into this part of humanity that goes back to, you know, when you had to really pay attention to danger, you could die that day when you were a caveman, and they've hijacked it. So that's the part that I think is a failure.
It's interesting. If you look at a New Scientist and you want to read the 21st century worst devices, but they also have the best. And what they did is they took the smartphone and they said, just take all the social media apps off it and use the smartphone for what the smartphone is supposed to do and can do. And now it becomes a brilliant device that doesn't control your life.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Because anything that you can learn at Harvard, you can learn on your smartphone now, which when you and I were growing up, you couldn't do that. And it's weird. Have you ever written cursive for my son?
Written it for your son?
He can't read
it.
He cannot read it.
Good. I have a gift coming for him. I'm going to put it all in cursive.
They don't do that. They don't learn cursive anymore, so they can't do it. All right, more in a minute.
Thanks for being a part of the Ron and Don Nation. Subscribe to the Nation News at ronanddonsitdown.com. A behind-the-scenes look at everything Ron and Don.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. As you know, Ron and I like to be involved in the community. We do something called Cause Radio. We've raised lots of money for lots of things we care about. Every once in a while, I'll go do an auction or a ride-along coming up here. In fact, I'm doing both of those with local police departments and a K-9 unit. I'm going to help them with their auction, which I'm looking forward to. So, and I have to say, if you're looking to do something, the food bank that I volunteered at here in Ballard is shut because people were breaking in and other things were going on. So I guess you can't have a food bank in Ballard, at least where I was. So
maybe they just saw the word bank.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, I'm going to break in there.
Yeah. So if you have a chance, drop something by a food bank, though, you guys. Food insecurity right now in Northwest Harvest. I drove by Northwest Harvest down in Soto today, and there had to be 200 people in line. There had to be 200 people in line at Northwest Harvest. And I know these umbrella organizations, and Tom Douglas has talked about this a lot. Northwest Harvest is so great because when you give them, and sometimes it's better to give them money than drop off canned goods because then they have leverage and they can go out and buy pallets of food, right? And buy pallets. And then they can buy food for all over Washington State as well. They try to focus, if you give the money here, we'll feed the folks here. But it's an umbrella organization that helps like 300 different food banks out there, so do what you can. And anyway, I've been thinking about, and my son asked me to, gave me permission. Last year I did some stuff with his football team. He said, hey, maybe you could come help coach. And I went, I don't know if I can help, but boy, that'd be fun to put on the whistle again and yell at people. So I'm looking forward to that. And so anyway, I had to go down and get my fingerprints today.
Do you know which coaching you're going to be? Are you a defensive coordinator?
No, I don't know yet. Coach Packard hasn't told me.
What do you feel in your heart of hearts? And I want you don't be a smart aleck here. In your heart of hearts, what do you coach?
I want to teach my Mike linebacker, my Sam linebacker, my Will linebacker.
You're going to be the linebacker coach.
Yeah, I want to teach those guys to
seek and destroy.
Well, yeah, when you step onto a field, those three players right there, they have to lead the defense, and that other team should know your number.
So
they should know your number because they've watched the tape and they know what's coming, right? They know the Mike, the Sam, the Will, and in
your heart of hearts, you're a linebacker coach.
I grew up playing the Mike position, being the captain of the defense. I know defense very well. The way that offense is today, I just went to a coaching clinic, 2,500, 3,000 coaches, and it's amazing when you see these high school coaches sit down and talk ball. I couldn't believe how much of it was way over my head.
Do you think you could give any of the speeches that we got in our high school?
I could give
room?
all those. Yeah.
No, 2 kids today.
Oh,
you're getting fingerprinted. Like, will they be checking your fingerprints if you gave any of the speeches?
you know what was great about our coaches? They didn't yell at you. They just told stories with enthusiasm. And then when they turned and they bit you a little bit, it was like a father or grandfather figure. That's how I always felt.
I'm just saying that there was some salty language that happened in that.
Could I
locker
give
room.
the speeches that Coach Hall gave? Yeah. Could I give the speeches that Coach Johns gave? No, I could not.
All right.
I could not give those.
Well, congratulations. I hope you have fun
Well,
coaching.
we'll see what happens. We'll see if they welcome me aboard. But anyway, last night I'm doing the CPR, the AED, and the first aid, which I've done before, but I haven't done it in a long time. So when you sign on,
What song do you use?
What's that?
What song do you use?
What song?
In your head to keep your tempo.
I forgot about that. It's a very fast tempo. The tempo's a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. Anyway,
Do you ever use Staying Alive?
I remember. Is that 120 beats a minute?
Staying Alive.
Yeah, probably
Staying
is.
Alive.
Yeah, 120. I know that from my spin days. Yeah, cut it in half. It's 60 and you can climb. So I went into my online portion and it's like, hey, if you already know all this stuff, just take the test. And if you don't know this stuff, then you have to go down the road.
Sure, all the modules.
Taking all the modules. I'm like,
I know this.
I know this stuff. So
Did you know the stuff?
God, I got like a D-, I think, on the first test through. And then on the second one through, I was so shaken. And on the second one through, you should get all the answers right because it's first aid. You're not becoming a doctor. You're remembering what to do when someone's choking, right?
Right.
So which has changed as well. I was a little shaken up from being so cocky, taking the test early and flunking it. I went into the modules. I played it too safe, and I cannot believe I got 3 answers wrong. And you know how I am. I'm a great test taker. I was always an A
Evidently
student.
not. You got a D-.
And I'm sitting
When's
there-
the last time you got a D on a test?
I know. I was doing, but I didn't do the modules. So then I went through the modules. I was expecting a straight A+, not an A. I wanted an A+ out of myself. I didn't get it. I got 3 wrong. And I tell you what, it emotionally put me up on the ropes. And I'm just like,
maybe you're not a good test taker.
maybe Alzheimer's. Maybe it's early onset Alzheimer's. I gotta get it. And you have to admit, every once in a while, and I think it's a deal with type A personalities like me, they give you kind of a trick question. There were a couple trick questions in there.
No, there weren't.
Yeah. Have you taken it?
No.
Well, then this Saturday I have to go now with everybody else, and we have to use the PPE equipment. I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not. If something happens, if it's one of the kids, I'll jump in and help them. If it's someone else like up in the stands, I'm going to be the guy that pumps, and then somebody else can give the breaths. That's just the way it's going to be.
I thought the breaths were out of vogue these days. Are breaths back?
See, you would have flunked the test too.
The breaths were in, then they were out. Are they back in?
You want to go 30 and then 2 breaths with a.
All right, that's new.
That's
a new development.
You're
I'm not
right.
trying to coach, though.
They threw out the breaths.
I'm not trying to coach.
Because they found out a lot of people didn't want to do the breaths. And then they also found out sometimes people are given CPR when someone's choking. And don't forget to open the mouth. But when this is what I got wrong. Do you open the mouth and do you reach down and take? Do you sweep through the mouth to see if there's anything in the mouth?
I'm not trying to take the test.
What would you do?
If someone was choking and if someone's choking or
And they're
CPR?
unresponsive and they're not breathing, now you're giving them CPR.
I think the new thing is, we've gone to the blows to the back. That
They're
didn't work.
unresponsive. They're on the ground on the back. You can't give them blows to the back. You're going to flip them over?
I didn't know there was going to be a surprise test today.
See, you don't know either.
I would say sweep the mouth.
You don't sweep the mouth.
Okay.
Because when you're giving the compressions, it might have popped something up in their mouth. And if you look down, you don't see it, and you're sweeping the mouth, you may have pushed it back down in their throat.
Okay, are we going over the whole test?
You got enough. These are the easy questions.
I'm not trying to be a coach.
I cannot. You know what? I feel so much better about myself.
I'm not
now.
trying to be a coach.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Upshaw. That's an F. It's an F for Upshaw. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ron and Don Show. We sure do appreciate it. If you need us, just reach out. We do something called a Ron and Don Sit Down. What is that?
Yeah, it's a Zoom meeting, free of charge, and we'll put together a personal custom strategy for you, whether you're a buyer, a seller, or an investor. And it's actually really great to walk people through. We had a question yesterday to sit down about 1031 exchange. And so most people have heard that buzzword and don't really know what it means and what it entails. And so it's that sort of thing where it's like, I want to sell this property. I want to do a 1031. Many times you don't qualify for 1031. And they're like, oh, I thought I did. Nope, you don't. Or they do qualify. That sort of thing is what we do in a Ramadan.
What do you say to people? Because we just sold a house in Covington. We're working on homes all over the east side right now, and also in Seattle. We've sold homes up at Camino Island, Olympic Peninsula, out the I-90 corridor, all the way down to Olympia. What do you say to people that say, well, you're not a neighborhood realtor? What would you guys know about my neighborhood?
We know how to sell a house in your neighborhood. Being in the neighborhood can be beneficial if you were an agent. We have a good friend that has lived and worked on the top of Queen Anne for 30 years.
Heidi?
And so she might, no, not Heidi. I'm thinking of a different person. But she might.
Sherry?
Nope, I'm thinking of a different person.
Cassandra?
No.
Jenny?
No.
Michael?
No.
Billy?
No.
I feel like I'm on Romper Room right now.
Yeah.
I see Ronnie.
Holly.
I see, Holly, yeah.
So someone like Holly, it might be beneficial in a specific house. She might already have a buyer ready for that house because she's been doing business there for 30 years. So someone like that might be okay. But I think by and large, your average agent, these are exceptional agents we just talked about.
She's an exceptional agent.
She's a A+, a 5-star type of agent.
She's great, yeah.
And so, but if it's just your average agent, a Redfin agent in Kent, there's no particular advantage.
If you're interviewing a realtor, ask them a couple things. Number one, ask them, outside the MLS, how do you reach people? Do you have a newsletter? We have a newsletter that has tens of thousands of people on our newsletter. How do you reach people online? Online on Facebook, I reach millions of people every month on Facebook and tens of thousands on Instagram because most of our folks live on Facebook.
How many deals have you done that you're not related to the buyer or the seller?
Yeah. So you really want to make, and you're looking for someone to bring folks from out of market into your neighborhood. So if you have someone that's buying and selling things in the neighborhood, you don't want a realtor that is selling something but has a buyer for it because you're not going to make as much money. You got to bring it to market. That's why we're doing all this work here. So if they've been around, entrenched in the neighborhood, though, for 20, 30 years, just because you've done something for a long time doesn't mean that you're great at it, right? So you really want to make sure, outside of the MLS, how are you going to market my property and get people excited about it? Also ask them, what kind of negotiator are you? No one has ever asked us that question. How do you negotiate a deal? What are your tactics when you negotiate? I've heard you say before on the Ron and Don podcast that you never split the difference during a negotiation, or you have to make sure that you set a high anchor and a low anchor. What is a high anchor and a low anchor? And why would you not split the difference? And where does that come from? It comes from a book by a guy named Chris Voss, and if you're in sales, you should definitely read that book, right? And also find out, is your realtor, are they transactional or are they relational? And finally find out, do they have a fiduciary duty? Does a real estate agent or a realtor have a fiduciary duty toward you? And come to find out, Ron, sometimes they don't, right?
I think it's most important to find out if they have a timeshare in Cabo.
Yes! So you can get shot by the cartel down there.
Bye, everybody.
RonandDonSitDown.com if you need us. I'm Don O'Neill on Facebook and Instagram. He is Ron Upshaw. We love to sit down with you guys today. It's about a 45-minute chit-chat, and we'll even give you one of these pretty mugs that says, I sit down with Ron and Don. I sit down.
Sat down.
That's why I was going, why did I say I sit down?
You failed this test as well.
Yeah. The D- is killing me. And then to get 3 wrong when you could just look up the answers. You're sitting there, you could look on AI and you could get the answers.
You didn't, though.
But I'm in too much of a hurry. So anyway. But you didn't know that question. Yeah, didn't know. RonandDonSitDown.com. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to my son. Thanks to Charlie. He's Ron. I'm Don. Until next time, keep your head up and your shoulders back. And don't forget that you We're going to listen to the Ron and Don Show online on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Ron and Don Show. Please hit subscribe.